No, he sees Myler. Oh no, Myler's got a little band across the ear. That's line. Sunday the 16th of September 1984. Great roar of applause as Graham West leads the Wigan team out for the first round of the Burtonwood Brewery Lancashire Cup against their old rival Widnes, a repeat of last season's Wembley final. Well, a repeat in as much as they're opposing each other, but a lot of Wiganers will be hoping for revenge today, and the Wigan players hoping to make amends for the disappointment at Wembley last May. The Wigan team this afternoon: Sean Edwards. On the right wing at number 2 is Ferguson, Wigginson's new signing. David Stevenson, who's had a real revival this season, playing extremely well at number 3. Ramsdale is preferred to Colin Whitfield at number 4, and on the left wing is Henderson Gill. Wigan half-backs, not the same as at Wembley. Cannon, who played at Wembley, stand off today, but Jimmy Fairhurst replaces Stevens at scrum half. So at half-back, Wigan have Cannon and Fairhurst. Changes again in the front row. Wigan, number 8 Courtney, number 9 Paul O'Neill, number 10 Brian Case. In the second row, West and Potter. Potter was ineligible to play in the cup ties last season. And at 13, John Penbury back after his bad eye injury against Castleford. Wigan's substitutes today are Whitfield at number 14 and Mick Scott at 15. Widnes 2 enforced changes through injury, players on holiday, and Mick Adams, who's left the game in this country. Number 1 for Widnes, Mick Burke. Stuart Wright on the wing. Number 3, a young lad, played on the wing in the last game, Courier. 4, Joe Lyden, the Wiganer, and on the wing at number 5, Bassinet. Kieran O'Loughlin, ex-Wigan at standoff, and partnered by Hume at scrum half. Number 8, O'Neill, who's also played for Wigan, Steve O'Neill. Elwell, number 9, and Tamate coming back after injury at number 10. Number 11, Mike O'Neill. Number 12, Whitfield. Number 13, Myler. Crowds getting worked up, and the Widnes substitutes Moran and Ayres as Wigan prepare to kick off, playing from left to right down to the top end of the ground. Penbury tries an awkward grubber kick, bounces to O'Neill. O'Neill being taken by West and Case, and Wigan forwards not happy about and West looking amazed and being called over by Mr. Allett. Referee said he did something illegal. He went in with his knees in the tackle. So Widnes start off quickly with a penalty. 7 or 8 yards in from the touchline. Lyden puts it right over our box. And Elwell coming up to restart with a tap penalty inside his own half. On to Steve O'Neill. Moving across to Tamate. Smothered by Potter. O'Neill again, turning it back inside, and he's picked up and bounced down by Potter. Potter going hard into the tackle. Slow play the ball, bad passing. Loose forward gets out of a tackle from Potter. O'Neill hangs on to him. Myler going back in field, grumbling at his players as Steve O'Neill moves it across. Tamati straightening up, throws a wild pass, and they've lost ground. Players struggling for the ball, but Widnes still have it. Mike O'Neill looking in a bit of distress as Widnes turn back inside, and Wigan going in hard into the tackle, and that's the 5th tackle as it's played back to Elwell. Long one on to Burke. Burke kicks behind the Wigan defence, rolling. Ferguson having to go back for it, keeps it in play with his foot. Coming up the 25 feet, well taken by Bassinet. David Stevenson having to run it out. Wigan defence. Wigan forwards not back fast enough there, and it's Case going to come tearing into them, taking them on. Shifts Elwell. Can't get out of Tamate's tackle. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball. To Penbury standing still, hands in on to Courtney. Courtney tries to force his way through, drags his way 5 or 6 yards forward. Plays it to himself, makes a plunging run, and taken in the 5th tackle. O'Neill out to Fairhurst. Cannon put in the grubber, kick in straight down Basnett's throat, and he should have had that. He's not happy, thinks he knocked him back. He was positioned himself extremely well for that kick, and Cannon drove it straight at him. He couldn't take it cleanly, knocks on. So Wigan with a double advantage in this, the first scrum. Inside the Widnes 25, Wigan with the loose head. Fairhurst to put the ball in go the heads, not straight, and he's penalised straight away for incorrect feeding. That's 2 penalties so far to Widnes. Wigan losing the advantage there. Should have had the ball from that scrum, and instead Lydon bangs it into touch and ball's back to Widnes again. Widnes had rather more possession so far than Wigan. Elwell on to Steve O'Neill. Steve O'Neill to Tamati, running a bit crossfield. 3 Wigan forwards in to take him. Elwell again at half back. Steve O'Neill, crowd thought that was a knock on. As a loose forward, Myler makes a lovely break, being chased by O'Neill. Wigan cover is there, the ball's loose and Ramsdale drops on it for Wigan. But Myler split Wigan wide open there. O'Neill now looking for support, going through on his own from Acton half back. Wigan slow getting back into the line out. Comes to Fairhurst, standing still. On to West. West driving hard. Beautiful break, looking for support. Well tackled by Burt, but the Wigan players couldn't get with him fast enough. As Ramsdale moves it to Fairhurst. On to Pendlebury. Pendlebury jinking, caught in possession. Has thrown the ball away and Wigan won't watch in. And the ball's gone loose and it comes to West and there's a gap. And it can't be taken. It comes back to West and we're back to 1. Well, that was exciting stuff, but Wigan were not awake there. And it's Courtney going ploughing in now. Lobs a high one to West, who drops the ball. Snapped up by Ramsdale, and that was a dangerous pass there by Wigan. To Gill. Gill's going to take them on, trying to dance and jink his way through. India Rubberman proving hard to hold, eventually put him down. And Widnes a line up very, very close. As it Wigan standing still, moving the ball back to Fairhurst. Potter gets out of one onto Stevens, can't take the pass. Sean Edwards picks it up clean. Backing up well there by Sean Edwards to Ferguson, and a penalty to Wigan for an infringement in the tackle, and Stevenson puts it into touch. Wigan now, referee waving Widnes back, and they're reluctant to go. Elwell, Courtney takes the pass from the Wigan hooker O'Neill. Line on a bit there as it comes to Case. Case juggles with the ball, trying to batter his way through, being held 8 yards out, bounces up, drags his way forward. A lot of determination now in the Wigan attack. As O'Neill switches it, Cannon dummying, gets it to West and he's over. Lovely dummy by Cannon there. West going well on the outside. Cannon hurt in that movement, limping badly. But West went in well to finish it, to put Wigan into an early lead. Wigan moved well there, and that was nice football by Cannon. Dummied well, West coming through hard. And I think he has arms that must be about 14 foot long. When he gets within seeing distance of the line, he seems to have elastic arms, and he stretches out and reaches over. Cannon coming onto this field carrying an injury. Seemed to hurt the hamstring again there. He had to be carried off at the end of the last home game, and he seemed to pull it a little bit there, but they put the painkiller on. He's back into his own half as Pendlebury sets it up, and we look as if we're going to have a substitution from Widnes, as Pendlebury from a yard in from the touchline lifts it high, and it's over. A beautiful kick by Pendlebury. A fantastic conversion, a yard in from the touchline. Wigan now surely must have the tails up. Number 15 is coming on. They don't seem to be too sure, and Mike O'Neill it is who's going off. And Ayres is coming on. Wigan then into a quick 6-0 lead. As Widnes come up to restart, Lydon. Low along the floor, bounces awkwardly. Past Potter to Ferguson. Coming hard into the middle, there's bags of cover there. Bounces off Elwell. Runs into Steve O'Neill. and they force him down the deck, and he's up quickly, wanting to get on with it. Case clearing his 25, gets over the 25 line, being mauled by Tamati and Whitfield, but he's still on his feet. O'Neill, Pendlebury hands it on to Courtney. Courtney trying to drive in, looks as if he might have slipped it one-handed, wanting a quick play. O'Neill going through from acting halfback, gets it on to Pendlebury. Pendlebury coming back inside to Fairhurst. Fairhurst out to Stevenson. Stevenson jumping with it. Good run by Stevenson up to the halfway line. Good, strong, powerful run there. And elusive. Ramsdale inside to Cannon, bit high. Courtney can't take it. It goes straight into the hands of Ayres. Wigan trying to play football at the moment as Elwell moves it out to Steve O'Neill, and he was slow. And a pass has come off there, a bad pass as Lydon comes back into the middle. John O'Neill and Fairhurst have him. Steve O'Neill acting half-back, moves it across. Back to Steve O'Neill, slips a nice one to Whitfield. Whitfield's pass has gone astray, being taken by Courier. Nearly gets away from Gill, who just manages to tap his ankle. Widnes player line flat out on the floor as Ayres goes tearing in, being taken by O'Neill. Wright trying to go through from acting half-back. This is fast and furious. That's the fifth tackles. Curry waits for the play of the ball. Out to Tamati. Tamati along the line. Short pass there to Loughlin. Loughlin smothered. And that's the sixth tackle as Potter goes into the tackle. And Pendlebury to O'Neill. O'Neill to Fairhurst. Fairhurst going to try and go down the middle. Trying to jink his way through. Runs into trouble as he's taken by Whitfield and Steve O'Neill to Case. Case going to run at them, coming hard and strong. Drives over the halfway line. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball. Out to Fairhurst. Fairhurst to behind onto West. West trying to make a break. Slips it beautifully. Cannon gets that forward pass. And it was a forward pass, but Wigan were well up there. A little bit unlucky. They've not heard the whistle. Just forward that pass. And Graham West setting them up well today. Handling the ball better than I've seen him do for quite some time. Unfortunately, didn't quite come up, but the move was there, and Wigan split them wide open. Ball just over on. Comes out to Fairhurst. Referee says it's come out at the side. Groans from the crowd, but it did come out. Didn't come out in between and behind the second row, so the forward's going to have to go down again. Hume to feed the scrum, and Wigan won one against the head again. Fairhurst making a break. Couldn't get it inside to Pendlebury, backing up well. Cannon jumping with it, going through on his own, looking for support onto O'Neill. Wigan not lined out properly as O'Neill is buried by Ayres. West going through from acting half-back, going in powerfully, well tackled, low and hard. O'Neill to Pendlebury. Pendlebury jinking his way, trying to dance his way through, gets a short pass onto David Stevenson, onto West. West goes to the line, gets it out, Case can't take it. Wigan got the ball back, lucky with that one, as O'Neill moves it to Pendlebury, to Cannon. Cannon dummies, changing direction, onto Ferguson. Ferguson going hard, and he's over. Well done by Ferguson. Determination and power. Forced his way over underneath the sticks. And Wigan getting right on top, and Cannon having a good game. 10 minutes gone. Wigan 10 points in the lead, and the kick right underneath the post. Well, there was a nice change of direction there, and Ferguson, eager, thirsting, hungry for work, goes into the middle, and with a lot of power, drove his way over to grab the ball underneath the sticks. So Wigan go into a 10 points to nil lead. And this is pulsating stuff from Wigan. Are they going to be able to break this long-running hoodoo? Can Widnes fight back? The heads look down a little bit at the moment as they stand behind the post. Pendlebury bangs it over. 12 points to nil. That's a good lead after 10 minutes play. And Wigan turning it on, playing football, moving the ball well. Little unfortunate short while ago that they'd broken them, and then a forward pass game, but there they were turning on the heat. Good crowd on this afternoon, on a beautiful afternoon. Rather hot out there, must be Stamina sapping sort of afternoon. It's very hot and very muggy as Leiden comes up to the centre once again along the floor. Potter takes it cleanly. Potter, who's had a good defensive game, bounced down by Ayres and Whitfield. O'Neill to Pendlebury. Pendlebury hands it on. No, he changes his mind, comes back inside. Crowd who think there was a thump from Ayres. It goes out to Courtney. Courtney going to take them on, puts his shoulder in, gains his 5 yards of ground. O'Neill to Fairhurst, to West. West, who's been driving him very hard this afternoon. And there's a thump. There's a thump. Referee's seen it. Says he swung. Loose forward Myler. Put one in on Graham West. Referee Allett right on the spot. David Stevenson. Ball's knocked forward, surely. Referee lets that go as it comes to Stuart Wright. No, the referee's brought them back, waiting to see advantage. Wigan should have found touch there, couldn't find it. It was touched by Widnes and knocked forward. The referee waited to see where the ball went. Good refereeing, really. So Wigan have got the double advantage, although they should have been starting really with a tap. They've got to fight for this ball in the scrum. Coming out to Wigan first to Cannon. To Fairhurst to Gill. Gill decides he wants to play him on his own, dragging his way forward, and Wigan had a good line out. Fairhurst to Pendlebury, doing the run around. Back to Fairhurst to Cannon. Cannon holding it on to Stevenson. Stevenson using his wingman as a foil very well there. Brings it inside. O'Neill coming over for the play of the ball. Cannon's first man. Cannon hangs it on. No, he turns it back to Ferguson. Ferguson beats one tackle, beats another tackle, beats another, still going, gets it out to Cannon. Cannon's dropped the ball, and Widnes have it. That was a good hard tackle, and it's been knocked on by Leiden. Bit of panic in the Widnes ranks, and Wigan penalised, Case penalised. Unfortunately, we're going into with his knees when Wigan could have been a knock on. Leiden puts it into touch. And Widnes standing around in a most untidy heap. Very unlike the Widnes that we know. Now they're sorting themselves out. As Steve O'Neill moves it to Tamate. Tamate across to Whitfield. And he's well tackled by Potter. Elwell. Steve O'Neill moving across the line. On to Kieran O'Loughlin. That looked like obstruction. The referee's seen it. Not a deliberate one, but players not having the necessary understanding. Went through without the ball. And Allett is saying, get back your 10 yards. Touch judge is coming on, having a word. He's going behind the post. Wigan really turning it on, really piling it on to Widnes. Straight kick there's for Pendlebury. His kicking so far this afternoon has been absolutely first class. A most difficult one from the touchline at a vital part, an early part of the game. Then one underneath the post, which was absolutely sure, no messing about it. This one a little more difficult, 30 yards out, but it's absolutely straight down to the top end of the ground. 14 minutes of the first half gone. That's Pendlebury setting himself up. Lifts it high, and true, 14 points after 15 minutes. Wigan rubbing it in a little bit at the moment. If it can only keep up this momentum and this pace, it could be a real turn up for the book. It could be a right shot for Widnes. Widnes never posed any sort of a threat so far at all in these first 15 minutes. Ramsdale, I think, is coming off. Whitfield coming on. Well, he's been very unfortunate, Ramsdale. 2 appearances now, and he's not lasted more than quarter of an hour in either of them at centre. Perhaps still suffering from the effects of the concussion that he got. It was a simple one and a clean one, but it was a bad one. Leiden. This time it coming to Ferguson on the wing. Oh, and it's beaten him, it eluded him. Awkward one, that's the way to take them. Difficult along the ground. Players are a little bit worried about knocking on, but feel he should have had that one covered. So it's put Widnes in a good attacking position. 10 yards out from the Wigan line. The first time they've really been in the Wigan territory. And it's Widnes to feed. And Wigan have won another one. Against the head. O'Neill doing well in the scrums this afternoon. As Courtney comes driving his way, getting away from his own try line. Casey's turn now, running into hers, dragging his way forward, smothered underneath the widnes pack to Fairhurst, to Cannon. Cannon a long wide pass on his own 25. Onto Whitfield, a lovely break by Whitfield, onto Gill, Gill up the halfway line, and he's lost the ball after a great Wigan attack. And it's Wright who has it, but Wigan have come away with good passing and good running, right from their own line, but they've given the ball, Gill couldn't hang on to it, and now it's tight, as Courier tries to come through. O'Neill onto Tamati, Tamati short one to Elwell, loose ball there, been knocked back by Myler, onto Whitfield, Whitfield being followed by Case, and by the Wigan Whitfield. Elwell to O'Neill, O'Neill going to run at Wigan, and the two West and Pendlebury are in to take him. Referee waving Wigan back the 5 yards, as Tamati short one on there, and they bury him. Fifth tackle coming up, as Tamati moves it inside to Elwell. Elwell puts a little kick through there, she's gone loose, come back to Widnes, onto Courier, Courier being forced over, lobs it inside, but the touch judge's flag has gone up. Groan of despair from Elwell, but touch judge must have reckoned he was over the touch line before he threw the ball back inside, so Wigan should have the double advantage here. 17 minutes of the first half gone. Oh, and the pack's collapsed and Wigan penalised for it. Burke coming up to take the penalty. Down Gill's wing and the popular side of the field. Makes absolutely sure. Widnes now a chance to mount an attack as Elwell comes up. 10 yards outside the Wigan 25, onto O'Neill, O'Neill short one to Whitfield. Fred Whitfield, who's taken easily by the Wigan defence, to Tamati, Tamati driving in hard, Potter takes him well, helped by Graham West. Elwell trying to go through, managed to get his passing on to Myler, ball's gone loose, picked up by Edwards. Edwards bounced down as he takes it, but Wigan regain possession in the danger area. Long one, Ferrer sends another long one out to Cannon, Wigan moving the ball. Stevens bringing Ferguson inside, Ferguson being taken, oh Lydon swinging away at him there, didn't connect but could have given him pneumonia from the draft as Graham West comes tearing in hard, looking to get rid of it, they're having a job putting him down. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball to Pendlebury, Pendlebury to Potter, Potter is short one onto Whitfield, Whitfield running well, made a couple of good runs since he came on as substitute. O'Neill to Pendlebury, Pendlebury deciding to run out with short one to first, he's gone without the ball, and it comes to Ayres. Tamati, and this game is fast and furious, comes out to Elwell, Elwell's pass has gone astray, Stevenson dragging them with him, saw there was somebody in the line out, couldn't get rid of it, Ferguson going on his own from acting halfback, powerful run, still on his feet, Elwell comes in and puts the shoulder in, and they've a devil of a job putting him down. O'Neill to Pendlebury to Fairhurst, Fairhurst to Potter, Potter running at them, driving in, not gaining a lot of ground. Cannon to Fairhurst, Fairhurst to Pendlebury, Pendlebury coming straight, trying to break through, he's easily tackled. Running straight at them and they can take him in that position. It comes to West, West holding it, looking to slip the ball, can't get rid of it, and that's Wigan's fifth tackle. O'Neill to Fairhurst to Cannon, Cannon puts the overhead kick in, takes a dive, Whitfield takes the ball, the penalty's given for the obstruction. Hit hard as he went through on the short kick there. The referee having a word with the touch judge. It's a straight penalty for Wigan. Whitfield also needing a bit of treatment. Referee adjudged the obstruction there. Cannon dived through to try to get the ball, but he got thumped for his pains, and he can have a headache in the morning. Keith Mills, the physio, taking a lot of time. Was going through hard after that short kick and he got it on the head. Referee Alec going having a look at him. He looks very badly shaken. John Penbury comes up. 22 minutes gone. Wigan leading by 14 points to 0. Another straight kick. This one about 26 yards out from the try line. Cannon's breathing again. The holy water has worked. Quite a hard one there on the head. Holding the back of his neck. As Penbury comes up, lifts it high and through. These are nails in the coffin when you get in all your goal kicks. 16 points to 0 after 22 minutes. Wigan riding high at the moment. Widnes having very little to offer in these first 22 minutes as Lydon comes up once more. This time a high one. Edwards to run it out. Straightening. Runs into the defence. O'Loughlin and Nelwell. O'Neill to Case. Case playing it safe in his own 25. Doesn't gain much ground. O'Neill turning and twisting to Potter. Potter's on his own. He's going to have to go driving in. And he's gained a lot of ground. He's brought it outside his own 25. O'Neill, the acting half back to Penbury. Wigan line a bit slow starting as Ferris decides somebody's got to go forward. He tries to do it and he's pushed back. O'Neill to Cannon. Cannon moves it across to Penbury. Back to Cannon. Long one to Ferguson. Ferguson turning inside. Been well taken round the ankles by Lydon. Cannon going as acting half back, takes a grubber kick. Wigan have been struggling a little bit inside their own 25. Cannon decided he'd get it into touch, gain a few yards of ground. So we scrum down, 12 yards inside the Wigan half. Will be Hume to feed. In good heads, Hume puts the ball in the pack and he's penalised for not putting it in correctly. Ferris wanted to take a quick one, feel that Wigan would be better getting out of their own half, and that's what they've decided. David Stevenson going to kick for touch. And we'll start with the 6 tackles, 5 yards inside the Widnes half. Case trying to go through, coming strongly. Good run by Case. Gets it out onto O'Neill, the only one who's followed him. He's going to have a job hanging on to it. He did well to keep possession. To Fairhurst. Fairhurst to West, doing the run around. No, goes on his own up to Potter. The referee says it's forward. But Wigan are working the moves. They're trying to play football. The odd pass going forward, but at least it must be causing a bit of consternation in the other team ranks that Wigan giving up the dull pedestrian, one man at a time bash. Balls into the pack, it's out to Widnes. Big gap on the blind side as Burke comes round. Stevenson and Penbury stitch it up. Hume waiting for the play of the ball. Out to Myler. Myler moving it across onto Ers. Wigan wait for him. And eventually it's Potter who goes in to take him. Hume moving it across. Tamati, a long one. O'Loughlin trying to come through. Having a job putting him down. Switch back inside. And it's Whitfield who takes right eventually. O'Neill sends a long one to Whitfield. On to Tamati. Tamati's pass is wild. On to Basnet. There's bags of cover here. Can't get out of the tackles. Ferguson takes him, helped by Stevenson. And Penbury comes over. Kick through, will be back to one. As Lydon has the ball going in field. On to Ers. Ers nearly through in the middle, but Fairhurst hangs on to him. Don't know why Wigan kicked at the play of the ball there. Lydon putting a kick behind the defence, and it's a good kick. And Wigan been penalised for offside at the play of the ball. Penalty to Widnes. 10 yards inside the Wigan half. Straight kick. Good kicker Mick Burke to put this one over, to put Widnes' first points on the board. 26 minutes gone. And now Whitfield receiving attention. And Whitfield decided he's going to kick for touch, perhaps thinking that too far behind for taking goal kicks. Takes Widnes up to the Wigan 25. Can Widnes turn it on here? Try to get back in the game. Elwell holding it onto right. Bit slow and telegraph that move as Whitfield puts right down. Elwell. Long pass to Tamati. Tamati stumbles, gets out of a tackle, turning and twisting, but Case and West have him. Elwell again to Hume, doing the run around. Whitfield coming in hard, looking for support, but Cannon hangs on to him. Hume play the ball out to Myler. Myler moves a bad pass across to Burke. Burke still on his feet, but Wigan managed to hang on to him, put him down. Elwell looking for support onto Steve O'Neill. Steve O'Neill a short one, and Wigan cut him in two as he tries to come through on the bus. That's the fifth tackle. Elwell across to Ayres. Ayres hoists a high one, a short one, awkward one for Sean Edwards, and he takes it beautifully. Cool and calm, he collects that one under a lot of pressure. And it's Ferguson who's coming strongly away, running powerfully, glutton for work, going inside, trying to help the forwards out. We've got Gill in the middle now wanting to have a go. Gill turning and twisting, gains his 10 yards of ground. Really it should be the forwards' job as O'Neill goes round the close side onto West. West come driving and dragging them with him, coming in very strongly to Pendlebury, lobbed. Pendlebury running out and jinks his way through, and he's broken. Cannon and O'Neill with him, puts the kick through. Might have been better passing as Basnett falls on the ball. Wigan penalised for holding him down. The referee wanted him off him. Good break that by John Pendlebury, backed up by Cannon, and O'Neill was following him on the other side. Not quite as fast, but he was making the effort, and he was there. And Burke puts it in touch, 10 yards inside the Wigan half. Widnes coming back into the game a little bit more territorially over these last 10 minutes or so. Elwell to Steve O'Neill, to Tamati. Tamati dumbing, coming back inside, smothered by Courtney and Case. Elwell to Myler. Myler straightening up, and Potter is in to help Graham West bury him. Elwell again waiting for the play of the ball. Elwell jinking, dummying. Wigan are in the line out. Awkward one there. The referee says it's gone forward. Sometimes a bad pass causes consternation because players are going where it should be and it doesn't go there and a gap appears. However, it's going to be Wigan's put in. Wigan with the loose head, 10 yards inside their own half, 10 minutes to go to half time. Wigan leading by 16 points to nil. Ferris puts it in, feet all over the place, and Wigan have hooked it back. Cannon does well to take it. A penalty to Wigan for O'Loughlin being offside. David Steen. Wigan are in a bit of a heap at the moment, having a bit of a conference as to what should be happening. As Stevenson makes absolutely sure, a good kick that by David Stevenson. O'Neill wanting to get on with it. That's Courtney with him, and it's Courtney who takes it. Graham West is following him, but Courtney's just going to drive in as far as he can. O'Neill has Ferris, gives it to Ferris. Ferris to Cannon. Cannon to Stevenson. Stevenson running at them. Not as fluid as they were at the moment, Wigan, as Cannon gets it to Potter. Now Potter taking them on. Short one to Pendlebury. Pendlebury trying to duck through. Buried. And has the ball knocked out of his hand, and Wigan got it back. We're back to one. Referees only playing 5 yards as they should do this season. They've had a warning. Ferris jinks through, dancing his way. Has support onto West. West is going to be on the horn. He's held a yard short. Wanting to quick play the ball, and he's penalised. Penalised for not playing it correctly. Graham West won't be happy about that one. Probably come out clear on the film. The line was open. Referee said he didn't play it properly, and that's a let off for Widnes. Could have been another 6 points, and that would have been the death knell. Bell backed up there by Graham West. The judge he didn't play the ball correctly as he was going over the line. But Bags of Wigan is up with him, and here's Tamati now trying to bring it away. Prop forwards are in, both Wigan props going in hard to take him. They're giving him a bit of stick as they're going into the tattle. Not a lot of liveliness in this Widnes side. Managed to get the ball out to Elwell. Elwell doing his little jink. A long arm reaches out from him. It comes to Tamate. O'Neill's over there, helped by Gill. Wigan trying to pin him down on the widnes 25. Comes to O'Neill, he just hands it on. Switch back inside. And Wigan defence is there to seal the gaps. Kieran O'Loughlin waiting for the play of the balls. It comes to Burke. Burke puts the grubber kick in deep into the Wigan 25. Edwards is over, takes it cleanly. Got Gill with him in support. Hands it on to Gill. Gill got up room in which to move. The referee having a word. Warning Courier. Must have hit Edwards after they'd got rid of the ball. Late tackle. Sean Edwards holding his shoulder. Whitfield going to kick for touch. Hoists it high into the top of the stand. So Wigan will start with a tap on the halfway line. Widnes not liking the taste of what Wigan are dishing out to them as Case goes powering his way forward. O'Neill to Courtney. Courtney going in with a shoulder, going in hard. Taken by three forwards and they bury him. Slowing the game down a bit, this line on as O'Neill moves it to Fairhurst to Cannon. Cannon puts the kick behind the defence. Being chased by three Wiganers and Burke on his own try line. And Burke's lost the ball. He lost the ball over the try line, but the referee judged he's made it dead. Done enough to make it dead, so it's a dropout from underneath the Widnes post. Burke covered it on the line and it shot away from him, but he must have touched it down. Danger there from that kick by Cannon. High one from Lydon to Edwards on the halfway line. Clean catch. Gonna run at them. Can't do much else from that. And a leg went across there from Elwell as he put him down. O'Neill. Potter driving down the close side, has lost the ball. And Hume is in there quickly to take advantage of the Wigan lapse. Elwell inside. Whitfield driving in. West and Case say thou shalt not pass, keeping them down there. Elwell to Tamate. Tamate going to try and make a break. Pendlebury hangs on to him with a good tackle by Courtney, who does do a lot of the close-in tackling. Little overhead kick here, could be awkward as O'Neill covers. Takes it well, snatched that well out of the air. Potter behind to play the ball, going on his own, giving his team time to get back to line out. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball to Fairhurst. Fairhurst to Courtney. Courtney looking to get a short one to West. Wigan line out, not spread out as much as it should. Fairhurst switching it back inside. Ball's gone astray, but it comes back to Cannon. Cannon a long one to Ferguson. Ferguson gets running on his knees there. Wigan untidy at the moment as Cannon switches it to Potter. Potter well tattled, good clean tackling there. Plays it back to Stevenson. Stevenson hoists a high one, slices off his foot. Burke taking it well on his... It's going to be tackled in his own in-goal area. Good following up by David Stevenson and Cannon. Followed the kick well and put Burke down, and Burke's having a bit of a moan about his team not getting round him, I think there. Wigan are really shoving Widnes back and holding them there as Lydon comes up to drop out once more. All the pressure this half from Wigan. Lydon. Cannon takes it nicely, has Ferguson inside him, holding the ball, switching it to Ferguson outside. Heavily tackled by Tamate and Basnett on the 25 line. O'Neill. But Ferguson plays it to himself. Not a lot gained from that one. O'Neill bringing Potter inside. He didn't cross. The referee's given the obstruction. He looks as if he was going to run behind West, but he changed direction. Now, I think that's a little bit harsh, that one. He looked as if he was going to run behind West, in which case it would have been an obstruction. However, he jinked back out to the touchline. The referee was caught a little bit short there, but he was caught it a little bit there and made his mistake. However, he's quite firm and definite in his decision. Steve O'Neill running at the Wigan forward, moves it out to Tamate. The referee in the way there, I think, forced Tamate to turn back inside. Elwell. Jinking. Stevenson, the ball's gone loose. Be picked up by line, referee said it's alright. And West really goes in hard as the referee signals the back to one. Bassnett going through from acting half-back. Potter taking him, helped by John Pendlebury. And he's going to get penalised for hanging on to his jersey. About 3 minutes to go to half-time. Burke coming up. Going to push Wigan back to their own try line, kicking for touch. Takes it up to the Wigan 25. Can Wigan hold out now? 3 minutes to go to half-time. The tackling has been extremely good this afternoon. Elwell to O'Neill. O'Neill holding it, trying to go through, and Case has him. And they smother him, and Potter. Potter trying to get the ball. O'Neill eventually has to go down underneath the two Wigan forwards. Elwell to Tamati. Tamati dropped a dolly of a pass. Great shrieks of delight from the Wigan spectators as Tamati makes a mistake. Right on the Wigan 25. Wigan, the double advantage here. Ferris puts it in. He's penalised for feeding again. And he's penalised again for not letting the ball go. Silly penalties to give away, really. O'Neill looking for support as Case takes him, and O'Neill looking to get the ball moving there. Elwell to Tamati. Tamati moves it across. Myler, short one onto Hers. Hers nearly through. Jimmy Ferris hangs on to him, helped by Cannon. Kieran O'Loughlin waiting for the play of the ball. Long one. And another one onto Whitfield. Whitfield going hard. John Pendlebury has him. And Cannon was coming across very well there to cover that. Wigan penalised again for not getting off him. A lot of penalties going Widnes' way at the moment. I think Tamati's decided they're going to have a go at goal. Penalties 9-4. In Widnes' favour. Penalties 9-4 to Widnes. A minute to go to half time, and Burke decides, well, we'll have some points on the board to show for the first half. Wigan leading 16 points to 0. And I don't think they've spent 5 minutes in the Wigan 25. It's been all down the other end of the field. Now they've managed to get up here, and they have a penalty to show for it if they can get it over. Burke then kicking down to the pavilion, absolutely sure. Widnes' first score, almost on the stroke of half-time. Wigan 16, Widnes 2. And there goes the hooter for half-time. And a great roar of applause for the great effort of this Wigan team as they go in for the half-time rest, leading Widnes by 16 points to 2. And so Wigan come out for the start of the second half of the first round of what used to be the Lancashire Cup and is now the Burton Wood Brewery Cup. And in the second half is half as entertaining as the first 40 minutes were. The Wigan spectators will go away well satisfied, particularly if the game carries on in the same trend with Wigan, who for once against Widnes are right on top and playing entertaining football, playing with great determination, great fire and great vigour, looking very, very strong, looking very, very fit. And surprising to say, after the run that we've had against Widnes, for once, Widnes looking the underdogs. Widnes not at full strength, but Wigan has certainly been giving them the runaround in this first half. Couple of unfortunate forward passes which helped the movement, and a decision given against Graham West just before half time, and he was played the ball to himself right underneath the post, which could have been another 6 points. But Allett, who was right on the spot, said he hadn't played it correctly, and we went down to the other end of the field, and Mick Burke managed to get the first points on the board for Widnes. So we start the second half with Allett sprinting up to the halfway line. Widnes to kick off, and Wigan leading by 16 points to 2. Sure, Wigan have come out with determined that what they have they're going to keep, and perhaps pile a little more on as well. As Lydon tries a high deep one to Pendlebury. John Pendlebury has been suffering with a bad eye, got a right thump at Castleford 2 matches ago. O'Neill behind the play, the ball to Case. Case driving in straight, hands off one, but he's knocked down to the ground by Elwell. O'Neill switching it inside to Potter. And referee giving Wigan a penalty for a foot going across. Stuck his leg out. Referee right on the spot. Cannon decides we'll have a tap, taking them on, and he ran away from his forwards. Ferris, a bad pass from acting half-back. Ferris not in the right place to take it, and Wigan lost all the advantage from that penalty. One feels it should have been in touch if he'd only gained 10 yards from inside their own half. As it is, Widnes have got the scrum, Widnes have got the ball, and Cannon penalised. I think it's Cannon who's penalised for offside as Kieran O'Loughlin decides they're going to play them nearer. Burke going to push Wigan back to their own try line. Good kicker of a ball, makes absolutely sure. Wigan made a couple of mistakes early on in the first 2 minutes of this second half, putting Widnes in a good attacking position. Elwell the tap to O'Neill, to Tamati. Tamati running out back to the close side. Goes underneath Case and O'Neill. O'Neill going in. Potter taking him. And Courtney. Elwell. Long one. Doing the run around with Myler. Whitfield coming through hard. He's cutting two. Well tattled by John Pendlebury. Goes out to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin onto Ayres. Ayres coming back inside. Widnes 10 yards out from the Wigan line. Now turning it on. Fumble with the ball. It's gone backwards. Overlap here as it comes out to the wing. Curry gets it out to right, and Wright's in at the corner with simple passing. The referee said it's a forward pass. Well, that's unfortunate for Widnes. It split Wigan wide open. And the referee gives the final pass forward. A let off for Wigan. It might bring them to realise that they've got to stick at it, that Widnes are not going to give in easily. And he's penalised again. A lot of penalties against Ferhus for feeding today. Tamati going to go on his own. Dummying, the line's open. And he's over. Well, Wigan were fast asleep. They're the simplest of tries there. The defence not organised. And Tamati forced his way over. So this game is not in the bag yet. Wigan have come out, as my old caretaker used to say, and his English wasn't of the best, lackadaisical. And they were certainly not organised and not tight enough there. And the game has been a little bit sloppy in these first 3 minutes. And this could bring Widnes right back into the game. Wigan 16, Widnes 6. How many penalties have we had against us in the scrum, Jeff, do you know? 4 scrum penalties given against us. All for feeding. That's not very good. And Burke makes sure of that. A good kick. 16-8. So Widnes are right back in this game with 36 minutes to go. Surely Wigan are not going to let this go out of the grasp now. John Pendlebury going to restart. Slack defence there near the Wigan line. Let them in for 6 points. Pendlebury hoists it high to Stuart Wright. Wigan want to keep them down there and play them there. And he nearly let him through. Eventually it's Potter who forces him down to the ground. Elwell to Tamati. There's a big overlap on this wing as they break down the middle, going inside Edwards. O'Neill, Edwards takes him from behind. Loose forward, Myler there, being chased by Cannon. And it's Gale who goes across, but Wigan in desperate trouble here. Ball's been lashed away at the play of the ball. Back to 1. As Hume falls on that, they split Wigan wide open there. They're not dead yet. As O'Loughlin hoists a high one, Stevenson should have this in his own in-goal area, and he's tackled. And now it's Widnes who are piling on the pressure, and Wigan looking very, very shaky. Looking very shaky. Widnes really come back into this. They're not going to give up. Only 8 points behind now. Comes to Elwell, bounces nicely for him. O'Neill takes him, puts him down, 12 yards out. Widnes coming back determinedly as Tamati runs strongly, and O'Neill hangs on to him. Elwell, long one. Behind Witts onto Ayres. Ayres going back inside, well tackled by Courtney. Burke is up in the attack. Out onto Myler. Myler turning it back for Whitfield, and Whitfield's taken by Pendlebury. To O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin along with the Wigan defence is badly stretched, and there's an obstruction. Well, that's a let-off for Wigan. The defence was stretched beyond all imagination, and the Widnes player ran through without the ball to give a penalty to Wigan, which should relieve the pressure as Stevenson puts it into touch, 10 yards outside the Wigan 25. We're going to have to settle down and get back into this game. Steady it a little bit here. Old head is needed as West comes in, driving in hard, lobs the ball to Fairhurst. Fairhurst jinking and dancing his way, and Wigan gained a lot of ground from those two tackles. Cannon to Pendlebury, bringing Case into the game, and Case is smothered. O'Neill on to Pendlebury, has Stevenson with him, trying to drag his way through, lobs it nicely to Whitfield, as Whitfield got the legs, and he hesitated as he came to Burke, and he had Stevenson inside him. O'Neill to Whitfield, to West. West comes powering his way in, gets it on to David Stevenson. Stevenson throws a bad pass, and Wigan have lost the possession. Been better playing that, safer and steady there, as Widnes come wide into the attack. Ferguson takes Lydon well, and Cannon comes in to complete the tackle. Referee going over, and he's having a word with Cannon. Crowd think the referee's wrong. Cannon thought he was going to get rid of the ball. He did come up onto his feet, perhaps afraid the game's going to get a bit too hot, and Wigan penalised again, to loud boos from the Wigan crowd. Burke, safe and sure, into touch, just short of the halfway line. Wigan been trying to give passes which aren't on occasionally. A little bit over anxious. Can understand the eagerness to keep the ball moving, but sometimes it just isn't there. O'Neill goes in and takes the other, his opposite O'Neill, Steve O'Neill. Elwell going through from acting half-back, ploughing his way forward. Tamati behind the play of the ball to Steve O'Neill. Long pass, Myler sends one to Ayres, which he does well to take. Wigan go in and close it. Pendlebury and Potter in well there. Plays the ball to himself. Hume waiting for the play of the ball to Myler. Myler, long pass which has gone astray, but bounced nicely for Lydon, and Lydon well taken by David Stevenson in the fifth tackle. Elwell, Myler hoists one in over the Wigan try line, and it's going to roll dead. That's a lucky one for Wigan. We'll come back to the 25 line. One or two breathing rather heavily at the moment. This game is fast and furious. From one end of the field to the other. Courtney putting a lot of effort, but his legs didn't seem to be moving awful fast. As O'Neill gets it to Graham West, he comes powering in, and he's hurled down to the ground by Elwell. Not getting up from that one. He's upended there. Very badly shaken in that tackle. It's hard and tough and rough in what Peter West calls the engine room. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Widnes coming back into the game. 16 points to 8. The next score could be a really important one. To Case, as usual, gains his 5 yards of ground. Now it's going to be Courtney's turn. Courtney's going to go at them straight in and hard, trying to drive up to the halfway line. O'Neill to Fairhurst. Kicks behind the defence. Burke should have it covered. It bounced nastily for him. Burke going to have to run it out. Has Stewart Wright with him. Wigan are up there. Pendlebury and Fairhurst. Hume on to Kieran O'Loughlin, running wide. Case and West have him. Hold him on the 25 line. Elwell waiting for the play of the ball. Elwell running it, brings Tamati inside. Courtney hangs on to him, helped by Graham West. And Courtney got hurt in that tackle. As the kick comes behind the Wigan defence, it's an awkward ball. It's a good bounce. Edwards having to backpedal fast. Takes it in his own 25. He's on his own, solitary figure, good run, over the halfway line, tremendous run by Edwards, gets it out onto Cannon, great run by Edwards, flawlessly played the ball, out to Fairhurst, up to Pendlebury to West, powering in, short one up to Potter, Potter dragging his way, still going, smothering his arms, Wigan turned defence beautifully into attack, Fairhurst onto Pendlebury, back onto Fairhurst, a long one to Ferguson, beats one tackle, managed to get it out to Stevenson, who sidesteps one, up to Cannon, Cannon having to come inside. Cannon not looking quite as fit as he might be. Wigan turning it on, Fairhurst onto Pendlebury, Pendlebury running at them, trying to make the break, snatched out, as he was halfway through, half break made, lying on a little bit. As the ball's played back to O'Neill, O'Neill onto Fairhurst, Fairhurst hoists a high one, he's under it, O'Neill's under it, Burke takes it cleanly and beautifully, good full-back play under pressure, Tamati waiting behind the play of the ball, Tamati coming away, moves the ball to Stewart Wright, Stewart Wright hanging on to him by the ankles, Wigan wanted to hold them there, O'Neill, Steve O'Neill, dives into the tackle, stumbles. Elwell to O'Loughlin, O'Loughlin a long pass, Whitfield making a break. Good break here by Widnes. Pendlebury goes in well to take Hume. And we're going to penalise for lying on. They know perfectly well that this season the referees want it quick. Relief again for Widnes as Burke comes up to the halfway line, and Widnes with a chance of another 6 tackles. 13 minutes gone of the second half. Wigan coming back into the game there, but now it's Widnes ball as Steve O'Neill hands it on to Tamati, and there's nobody following him, they're not with him. Hanging back a bit there, Widnes, not following him up. Some of them not doing the stint of work. As O'Neill moves it out to Myler, Myler going back in the middle. On to Steve O'Neill turning it inside to Tamati, keeping the ball moving well, and Case smothers his man. Kieran O'Loughlin, switch to Whitfield, Fred Whitfield trying to go through, he's put down by Pendlebury and Fairhurst. Tamati coming up for the play of the ball. Out to Steve O'Neill, Steve to Myler, Myler turning it inside, on to Urs. O'Neill hanging on to him, that's the 5th tackle. Some of the Wigan players beginning to look a bit weary under pressure as it comes to Lydon. Lydon kicks behind the defence and Gill knocks on. Took it all wrong. Well, Widnes getting the rub of the green at the moment as Gill couldn't take that kick through from Lydon. So we're back in the Wigan 25 with Elwell with a loose head and Hume to put the ball into the pack. Into the heads, ball's in the scrum. Round the blind side goes the scrum half and John Pendlebury wraps him up. Stewart Wright waiting for the play of the ball. Wigan not back fast enough. As Steve O'Neill onto a lock and the Wigan defence is terrible messy and David Stevenson as well to stitch it up. And Ferguson comes in well to intercept. Good play by the Wigan right wing pair. Whitfield coming through sensibly from acting half-back. And a penalty for Wigan. Lydon in trouble. Thumped Colin Whitfield. The referee just having a word with him. I don't think he's going to go off. Lydon not liking to lose or be behind. Front of the Wigan crowd, a Wigan boy, Pemberton lad. That was good covering by the Wigan right wing further. They were in desperate trouble. And that's relieved it a little bit on Wigan. Good tackling by David Stevenson and good interception by Ferguson. Saved a bad situation for Wigan. Courtney goes in, powering his way forward. Into the Widnes half. Now Case decides it's his turn. And he's gained a lot of ground. As O'Neill comes up to Cannon, switch of direction. He has Graham West with him, but he gets it out to Sean Edwards. On to Ferguson. Ferguson well tackled by Lydon. Cannon to Edwards. Nobody moving forward. Wigan going back as Ferris drops the ball. And Wigan have lost about 15 yards of ground. Quarter of an hour gone. The first 15 minutes of this second half gone. Wigan 16. Widnes 8. And it's A lads A as Courtney comes off. And a substitution being made. Mick Scott will come on. And Moran's come on. And I can't see who's gone off for Widnes. Stuart Wright, I think, has gone off. Moran's gone to centre and Curry's gone on the wing. Mick Scott coming on. Wigan's pack, not sure who's going in the front row. Mick Scott's going into the front row. Pack's in, wheeling all over the place. And it shoots out to Myler. To Hume. All he can do is fall on the ball. But Widnes have it. On to Ers. Ers coming down the middle looking for support. Scott hangs on to him. Elwell to Steve O'Neill. Steve O'Neill, a short pass to Tamati. Tamaty's pass has come off. Burke's missed it. Been taken by Currier. Currier taken by Gill. O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin inside onto Myler. Myler, a short pass. Graham West hanging on to Hume. Puts him down. Elwell coming over to Steve O'Neill. Steve O'Neill switches it to Tamati. Tamati, a long one, and Gill's in quick. Takes Moran as he's retaking the ball, and Burke's putting the kick in straight into touch. Ball back into the Widnes half. Wigan to feed, and that worries me. They've given so many penalties away at the feeding. Wigan to feed, and Wigan with a loose head. Referee says go out to the 10-yard line. Think of the heads. Feet all over the place. Coming out to Wigan, O'Loughlin, yards offside. Ferris takes a quick one. He's going hard. He's followed by Hume. Wigan got away quickly there. Cannon to Pendlebury. Pendlebury running at them. A Scott with him. Can't get rid of the ball on the 25 line. Cannon gone acting half-back. Short one on to Scott. Scott coming in hard. Can't get rid of the ball. And he drops it as he goes down. Graham West screaming for it, but Scott trying to get it to him, dropped it, and so we scrum down. And there's a lot of excitement in this game. Fiercely contested match. Referee keeping the packs apart till Hume comes round with the ball. Come round the Wigan side. They always do this so the hooker can see his feet coming round. Looked like a bit of feeding there, but Pack's collapsed. It's all, and it's a penalty to Wigan. Penalty for a scrum offence. Handling in the scrum. Wigan seem a little undecided as to what they're going to do. Cannon takes the tap, taking them on his own, trying to dance his way through. I wonder why. That should be a stand-off half job. O'Neill to Furs, doing the run around. Doesn't give it him. Penry tries to go on his own. Arms are locked as he tries to get rid of the ball. 10 yards out. David Stevenson gone up to acting half-back. Lobs it to Ferris, who does a run around with Scott. Scott trying to go on his own. Wigan seem a little undecided as to what they should do at this part of the ground. O'Neill to Graham West. Graham West driving in onto O'Neill, and O'Neill's held a shot. That was a nice move there. Plays it to himself, and he's over. He's played it right, and he's over by the post. Wigan 20. Well, that was set up by Graham West. He did extremely well. And O'Neill intelligently and strongly forced his way over a yard to the left of the post. Wigan 20, Widnes 8, and this should be an easy kick for John Pendlebury. Those are fatal words for a commentator to make, but just slightly to the left of the post. And Wigan soaked up a lot of pressure in the early minutes of this second half, and they've bravely and gallantly and determinedly fought their way back into it. Sweet revenge for Wigan this, if they can pull this one off. 20 points to 8 as Pendlebury comes up, and it's there, 22 points to 8. This is going to take some pulling back. Exactly halfway through the second half, Widnes, a real uphill climb here, and they've never really looked like making it. They had a good run just at the start of the second half. They caused a lot of panic in the Wigan ranks, but Wigan come back and they've got a lead which they deserve. Wigan then 22, Widnes 8. Lydon to Edwards. Made a fantastic run a short while ago, Sean Edwards. Decided he's going to run at them. Can't get through that sort of defence. O'Neill to Scott. Fresh and strong. Has to die under that tackle. Should be fitter than a lot of these forwards who put in a tremendous amount of graft. And here's one of the great grafters. Oh, and he's lobbed a bad one inside. Just threw it back. Bit aimlessly. Wigan had to backpedal there. And Ferguson and Stevenson been penalised at the play of the ball for obstructing after he played it, after Ferguson had made the break from acting half-back. Lydon. And he kicked it dead. What a silly thing to do. Kicked it touching goal from a penalty. He was very lazy the way that he took it. Put no real effort into it, no concentration. He's kicked it dead. So Wigan have the drop out from the 25. Whitfield pushes Widnes back. With Burke having to go back into his own 25. That was a bad mistake by Lydon. Strong run by Burke, and eventually it's Potter who forces him down to the ground. Hume waiting for the play of the ball to Steve O'Neill, who has grafted hard, and Potter's in again, low and hard round the hips. Hume waiting for the play of the ball to Myler. Myler makes a lovely dummy and a good break by Myler. Edwards takes him well. Whitfield trying to look for support, and Basnett's dropped it into touch. And a great roar of derision, but I think it's as much relief as derision from the Wigan fans, because Myler split Wigan right open down the middle there with a beautiful dummy and a good strong run. And then Widnes couldn't capitalise on it and threw the ball into touch. Ferris feeds, it comes out. Well, the referee said it's come out at the side of the tunnel. Ferris to put it in once more. And it goes, coming out, and he's penalised again for feeding. One must have a certain amount of sympathy with scrum halves. There isn't much of a tunnel for him to put it in. Burke makes no mistake with that one. That was a dreadful mistake a short while ago by Lydon. Lazy, sloppy play that to make that sort of a mistake. However, Widnes back in the Wigan 25 on the attack. As it Elwell holds it, tries to bring Basnett inside. Well taken by Case. Elwell again. Steve O'Neill hands it on to Myler. Myler to O'Loughlin. It's been dropped by Ayres. And Wigan have got possession. Potter drops on it. Gill wanting possession. Gill running in field. Gets away from one, coming up to Burke. And the cover goes across to take him. Cannon to Fairhurst. Fairhurst to Scott. Scott jumping with it. Nobody on the outside as he goes tearing down the wing. Now Gill's back on the wing. And there's battling between O'Loughlin and Gill. Gill trying to get O'Loughlin off for a quick play of the ball. O'Loughlin resented it and went into Gill. Graham West trying to prize them apart. O'Loughlin really incensed. Graham West holding Gill. Well, as I read it, Gill was trying to throw O'Loughlin off for the play of the ball, and O'Loughlin hit him. Of course, Gill wasn't taking it, and West quite rightly telling other Wigan players to get out of it. I think tempers are calming down a little bit now. It's been a hard, tough game, not a nasty game. It's been a hard game. I wonder if the referee will give the scrum down.
Graham West did a good job.
Yes, Graham West did a good captain's job there and getting that sorted out. Cooling them down, steadying them down. Penalty to Wigan. Yes, it was O'Loughlin who struck off first. Colin Whitfield gets it into touch. Only had a yard in which to play. As O'Neill comes up, Case says, I'll take him on, I'll have a go. Runs into Tamati. They'll be supping pints together later on, but at the moment, deadly enemies as it goes to Fairhurst, to Cannon. Cannon hands to Whitfield. Gives it to Stevenson, coming hard, straight onto it. Nice to see a play coming hard. Ferguson now decides he's going to have a goal. Runs into Steve O'Neill. They force him down to the ground. O'Neill doing the switch to Scott. Scott trying to go short one onto Ferguson. Ferguson onto Fairhurst, who was hit high. The referee's given the knock on. Don't think Jimmy Fairhurst is going to breathe very well. He's up quick, but he took that one fairly high. Must be a tough little knock because that was a hard one. He took it well, rode it well, no grumble. Ball's into the pack. Win the side, round the blind side onto Burke. Sean O'Neill's in there to take him as Burke tried to walk all over him. Hume moves it inside. Myler coming hard onto that, runs into trouble just outside his own 25. Hume waiting for the play of the ball. Wigan going in, takers, and they're holding them there, carrying him back, 3 Wigan forwards. Determination that by the Wigan pack. Carried Ayres back. Long one to Burke. Burke with his awkward one for Edwards, having to retreat for it. On his own 25, he'll play this safe as Colin Whitfield goes back to help him. Sidebacks beautifully. Oh, that's class play. Lovely run. Bring Stevenson inside. Stevenson going outside. That was lovely classical football. Long time since we saw such a neat sidestep. Cannon decided to go back outside again. Turning and twisting overhead onto Pendlebury, and there's a late tackle. A late tackle. Referee taking his book out. Looks like Lydon again in trouble. This is nasty. That's a couple of times he's been involved. Don't think he likes the idea. Tamati being called over as captain. Probably doesn't like being beaten by his own locals. There's been a bit of bitterness about Wigan lads going to Widnes, and now the Wigan lads are on the Widnes are on the wrong end of it, and he doesn't seem to be liking it. 10 minutes to go to full time. Wigan 22, Widnes 8. Cannon flattened by Lydon. Whitfield decides he's going to kick for goal. I don't know whether he intends kicking the goal or whether he intends that the minute should be ticking away while we wait for the sun to come on. It's a long kick. 8 yards inside the Widnes half. but it's straight, just about in line with the right upright. Keith Mills having a look at Penbury, see that he's in fettle, going over, giving Sean Edwards a touch of the magic sponge as Whitfield sets this high up on his tee of sand. Wigan 22, Widnes 8 as Whitfield gets ready to take this penalty kick. It's a long one, a straight one. He's lifted it high and he's pulled it, I think. He's pulled it and it's gone dead. So it will be a dropout. So Widnes really should give possession back to Wigan. Mick Burke hands it on to Lydon. Loud boos for Lydon as he kicks deep into the Wigan 25. Sean Edwards takes it cleanly, has Ferguson on his inside, has Stevenson coming across with him, decides to try and go straight down the middle, and he's knocked down for his pains by Steve O'Neill, who gets it out onto Scott. Scott a short pass, Stevenson trying to bustle his way through, goes down to Moran. Whitfield going through from acting half-back. O'Neill waiting for the play, the ball to Fairhurst, Fairhurst to Cannon. Cannon a short one, the lower gets it out to Ferguson, who rounds one, rounds another, going hard for the line, and a great run by Ferguson, still going, a tremendous run by Ferguson, eventually forced into touch, but he had the beatings of 3 men there. Very determined run, very powerful for such a slightly built man. Takes it back to 10 yards from the Widnes line, but Widnes to feed. And it's a penalty to Wigan for incorrect feeding. 7-8 minutes to go. Wigan in a strong attacking position. O'Neill takes a tap to Case. Case going for the line, trying to drive in. Ball tucked under his arm. He can't get rid of it. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball to Fairhurst. West lost the ball. It's come back to West. Manages to regain possession. Scott sees the line, he's done smashing his way over, and Widnes managed to seal it up a yard out. O'Neill behind the play, the ball to West driving in, and he's over, can he put the ball down? And the referee's given it, he's dynamite to yard out. Dynamite to yard out, this Graham West. Very hard to stop. And Wigan now rubbing it in, 26 points. Yeah, and West back to his best. Long time since he had such a great game, and having it against a good team. Wigan spectators now singing their heads off. Long time since they rubbed it in like this, a long time since they beat Widnes, but really this has been a shellacking for Widnes. John Pendlebury, straight kick. (28-8), right over in the middle. Wigan 20 points in front with 6 minutes to go. There'll be some else up tonight, I think, Jeff, after this victory. Good win this for Wigan. Must give them a lot of confidence for future matches. Bring the crowds back to Central Park because they've won this game with good football. Excellent football. Short one this time to Graham West. Has Gill with him. Decides he's going to take them off. He's not half done some work this afternoon. And O'Neill still mauling away at the ball. West has no intention of his having it. Case running hard and strong. Arms are locked, he can't get rid of it. O'Neill, Wigan's acting half back. Makes a mess of it for once. Knocked on. Tried to get moving before he'd taken the ball. I think perhaps a lot of the tension might go out of this now with just 5 minutes to go. And Wigan 20 points in front. Myler Ewan puts it in, shoots straight out the side. Wigan front row having a bit of bother getting down. Ball's quickly out to Widnes. Burke's come round the close side, gets his pass in. Gill smothers Moran as he gets the ball, helped by Potter. Courier to Tamati. Tamati running at the Wigan forwards. West has hold of him and West smothers him, wraps him up, arms all round him, looks like an octopus as he smothered him there. O'Loughlin moves it across. Basnett coming into the middle and Wigan hang on to him. Elwell running through from acting half back to Tamati. Tamati turning it back inside to Steve O'Neill. David Stevens in quickly to take Basnett before he can get moving. Wigan players hunting like a pack. Steve O'Neill lobs it across. Comes on to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin's pass has been knocked down. Picked up by Potter. He's got a long way to go. And there was no way he was going to make that, but he came through well. Comes out onto Gill. Gill has nobody with him. Turning inside. Looking for support. Can't get rid of the ball and eventually has to die with the ball. O'Neill to Pendlebury. Pendlebury taking them on. Puts his shoulder in. O'Neill waiting for the play of the ball. O'Neill to Case. Case running straight again and hard. And he's broken through. He has O'Neill with him, but he couldn't see him. Powerful run by Case. O'Neill to Fairhurst. Fairhurst to Cannon. Cannon puts a kick in. Who's going to get there first? He can't take it cleanly. And Lydon's offside. That was dangerous. Basnett couldn't take it cleanly. Stevenson takes it quickly. Out to Edwards. Can he get in? No, he's pushed into cut. Just short of the corner. The move was on. Real buzz going round this ground. Hume lobs it in, it's coming out to Wigan. Fairhurst, a long one to Stevenson. Stevenson trying to beat them onto Whitfield. Not a good pass to Gill. What can he do? He's going hard for the line. And he's forced into touch. Forced into touch, just short of the flag. Players run from one touch line to the other. Determined run by Gill, just couldn't quite get in at the corner. Wigan won the last scrum against the Head. Hume to feed again. This time he gets it, Pax wheeling all over the place. Hume falls on the ball behind the pack. Wigan penalised for offside, referee points to three of them. And that is justice has been done. Loud roar of applause. Graham West to judge the player of the match. He's had a tremendous game. Elwell in the dying seconds takes the tap. O'Neill hands it on to Tamati. Juggled with that one. O'Neill again. Moves it across. Just handing it on. Whitfield went through. O'Loughlin being taken. West goes into the tattle with Pendlebury. Elwell onto Steve O'Neill. There's an overlap as Tamati comes down the wing here. And he's lost the ball and it rolls into touch. Lost the ball in the tackle. A lot of weariness in these players. As I said earlier on, it's a very muggy afternoon. It's the sort of day that drains the strength out of the legs eventually. Plus the fact it's been a very fast game. Pack all over the place. Puts it in, shoots straight out at the side. Wigan second row not down very well. They're almost in among the front row. Ball goes in. And penalised for feeding again. Can't have a lot of confidence in his hooker. Burke comes up. Drives it into the Wigan half. I think the players know now they can almost smell the bathwater. Elwell to Steve O'Neill. To Myler to O'Loughlin. Loughlin on to Urs, who comes hard and straight, and the two Wigan half-backs have him. Kieran O'Loughlin. And Cannon penalised for lying on at the play of the ball. Burke being called up. Takes it to the Wigan 25. And I think we're playing in stoppage time as Elwell comes up to take this penalty. Takes the tap to Steve O'Neill, to Tamati. Running into West and Potter. Potter hanging on to him, trying to get the ball. Wrestling away for it. Elwell going through from acting half-back. Nearly gets away from Scott. Ball's lobbed out and it's surely knocked on. Referee hasn't seen it. And there goes the hooter for full time. A delighted Wigan team. A delighted Wigan crowd. The final score, Wigan 28, Widnes 8. And I hope that you were watching this video are delighted with what you're seeing. This is your commentator John McDermott, really hoping you've enjoyed the film made by your cameraman Brian Worthington. Final score then as the victorious Wigan team go off. Wigan 28, Widnes 8. Now do I go and have a pint or do I not? That was a good game to do a commentary on.